Welcome back to Cinema Flicks Music Picks. I'm Davey, your host with the most, the beast with the least. The least I can do today is look back with you at the albums that were in the year that was, 2022, once more. And at joint number 6, we're going to be looking at, and first of all, we're going to give some shout out to one of the members in particular. We're going to look at the debut album by The Smile, A Light for Attracting Attention. Okay, but in a lot of the year-end lists and the reviews when it came out, Tom Skinner was an afterthought if he was mentioned at all. This is a 3-piece band, and Tom is the drummer, and he is 1/3 of it. And there's a reason why the other two parts are getting a lot more publicity than Tom Skinner on drums. But just to set a little wrong right, I'm going to acknowledge Tom Skinner's wonderful contributions to this as the drummer. He's had his own band for years, Sons of Kemet, who disbanded last year. He released a solo album last year, put out numerous projects under the name, what was it? Hello Skinny? I think it was that. He's been on stuff with Kano, Floating Clouds, all sorts of people. One of the people he's worked with is Jonny Greenwood. He's worked on him with some of his Johnny's film soundtrack work. Jonny Greenwood, of course, being a member of Radiohead, who have the lead singer Tom York. And that's our other two members here. So we have, to the surprise of nobody, 2/3 of Radiohead, probably the most famous two, let's be honest. So we've got Tom York and Jonny Greenwood, joined with another Tom, but without the H, to make up this new trio called The Smile. So Tom Skinner joins in on the process with half of Radiohead here to make The Smile. Little bit of background, these tracks have been, some of them lying around for ages, some of them just fragments and pieces that, what do we do with this? This doesn't match what we want with Radiohead at the moment, this doesn't match what we're thinking of as a 4-piece, this doesn't match our ambition or sounds, etc, etc, etc. So they come together and played Glastonbury, and decided to make it an actual ongoing concern, where it would be an actual project with a full album, not just an EP or not just a one-off cool appearance. It would be a proper side project for two of the guys, and for drummer Tom, we need to keep identifying which Tom I'm talking about. It would be another gig for him, so another side project for him too. But Radiohead have not disbanded, it's nothing to do with that. What we do get here though is, first of all, some lovely artwork that's gorgeous. You can see it even better on the booklet. What we do get here though is sounds that actually wouldn't surprise you being on a Radiohead album. That's probably another one of the reasons why a lot of the reviews have just been concentrating on Tom York and Jonny Greenwood, because essentially if this was released as the follow-up to Radiohead's last album, which is a good few years ago now, was that Shape Pool, there'd be nobody blinking an eyelid. In fact, there'd be a lot of people rejoicing, because this is an excellent bit of records and probably better than the last couple of Radiohead albums, dare I say. Difficult to say, because again, you don't have half the band here. What you do have though is a kind of honorary member of the band, because Nigel Godrich produces this record. Nigel's been long-term producer with Radiohead. Bob Ludwig mixes it, so you've got, just the top of the pile, all round, production wise and mixing wise, and just everything about it is quality. And that stems from the music itself. Though there's nothing on here that's massively, oh my goodness, this doesn't sound like what I'd expect from Tom York or Jonny Greenwood, there's a lot on here that sounds familiar but new, oh, that sounds a bit like, but it's new, blah blah blah. I won't go through every track because it's been on a lot of lists this year, but we kick off with The Same, which has got a wonderful, just droning synth beat to it, a bit like Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, Souvenir. God, that's an old reference, but you know. You get dun, 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 dun. I love Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. The opposite starts to bring in a bit more of the rock style, so you're starting to hear more of a three-piece, because the Same only features pretty much just Johnny and Tom's vocals. You'll never work in television again, though, is where we start to get this is as heavy and as vitriolic as Tom York has ever gotten on a record. Sometimes he will make these allusions and allegories and whatnot. This is explicitly about the Me Too and the Weinsteins and that kind of stuff. Or the Weinstein. Sorry, other Weinsteins, Robert. Don't want to get a lawsuit from one of them. Fear not, my love, he's a fat fucking mist. Young bones spit out, girls slitting their wrists, curtain calling for a kiss from a nursery rhyme. Behind some rocks, underneath some bridge, some gangster troll promising the moon. Some kid in golden chains, 2 slippery ropes, a lonely stitch left to be unpicked, including my left foot, which wasn't that distributed by Miramax? My Left Foot, the movie. Oh, what a coincidence. And it goes even more intense musically than you'd expect. Tom, you can almost feel the spittle coming out and going onto the microphone as he's singing it, because it's fury. Johnny's playing with anger and righteous abandon, and Tom's matching beat for beat. And our other Tom, drummer Tom, is again, when he needs to be rocky, he's rocky. When he needs to be jammy, he's jammy. When he's jazzy, he's jazzy. One of the other tracks to mention, though, follows that straight up. It's Panavision, and that tones things way down again. We get more of a quieter Radiohead-esque song. It would fit on something probably from the Bends. You know, we're not a million miles away from Fake Plastic Trees. Most of this sounds like, if it's going to sound like Radiohead, it sounds like Radiohead pre-2002. So basically up to Kid A, and not even that much Kid A, to be honest. My favourite track on the album is The Smoke, which is track 5, and that is the... Tom York has always had the ability to have a really sexy vocal, you know, to find a way to think, oh, this could be quite a sexy song, you know, if I really kind of like Brett Anderson it up, you know, from Suede. He does that here so amazingly, and the bass line on it, which I think is Johnny Greenwood. Tom York and Johnny Greenwood both play bass on this record, but this is such a developed bass line, and it sounds like it must be from a real... Oh God, I was going to say a real musician. Sorry, Tom York. But you know what I mean. Someone who's a composer, someone who's, you know, a master of the strings, as opposed to Tom York, who by his own admission has never learned to read music because he was worried it would take away the idiot savant side of him. It's a kind of Afrobeat, P-funk, or I guess S-funk, smell funk track. Just gorgeous and sexy as hell. I can see when I saw Radiohead last, Tom had those tight red trousers on, shaking the head. I can just see him now doing that to The Smoke. It's gorgeous. I can see him dancing to, and I won't go through every track because I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir in some regards. But you get a track like Free in the Knowledge, and that's classic Tom York balladeer mode. I always say Radiohead are at their best when they're leaving me on the verge of tears, and sometimes reduce me to floods of tears, as in Videotape. That always does that to me. Right from the opening piano, dun, 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 from In Rainbow, dun, 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 dun. This is one for the good old days. Better not, I'll make myself cry just with my singing. And Freeing the Knowledge has that ability too. It takes me just to the verge of breaking down because it's so gorgeous. And Tom, for all the righteous anger that he has from You'll Never Work in Television, again to the sexiness that he has in The Smoke, on this track, Freeing the Knowledge, provides ultimate balladeer Tom, where he hits these high registers, keeps it up there and doesn't miss a beat, literally or figuratively. Tom York is one of the vocal marvels of the last 30 years of music. It's not lost anything. It sounds exactly like he could just have walked to the studio in 1995. It's amazing. I listened to this record and Tom just sounds exactly the same. Unreal stuff. Waving a white flag here. There's tracks on here that do specifically reference, the orange man going south and hiding and thing, so we know what you're doing there. Okay. So again, it's a bit more explicitly political. I think that's probably about right though, because it's a worrying time for the world, so it's probably a time to stop being poetic and start being a little bit more, hey, action time. So I don't mind that, but they dress up in such a beautiful way with this album that I think they've produced some of the best music that Tom York and Johnny Greenwood have been on in 20 years. And I like Tom's solo career. I like The Racer, I like his last one, I like the Suspiria soundtrack. I love Johnny's film scores, and as I mentioned at the start, drummer Tom, I hate having the two Toms, in case I could just keep saying Tom. But Tom Skinner, I've loved some of the music that he's played on in the past decade or so. And what you get here is an addition of orchestration. You get a horn section. You get string section with the orchestra. I know that sounds like it's the same thing, but a pared down kind of string section in some places, whereas it's fully orchestrated in others. It's just a gorgeous album, and I really think that you get some double bass from Dave Brown on it as well, which, what a master. But I just think this is, I don't know why these didn't work as Radiohead tracks, because it feels like it's the perfect Radiohead album, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because it gave us something different, and perhaps that pushed Tom York and Johnny Greenwood on a bit to do something different in this project, and come up and finish songs in a different way than they would have in the traditional Radiohead setting. So I'm glad they did. I'm glad that we've had that. And Christ, I've just realised I've rambled for 13 minutes, but I just really dig this record, man. I just really dig this record. And I'm almost talking myself into thinking, why have I not put it in my top 5? But it's immaculate. It's one of those records where somebody says to you, what's wrong with it? You'd be thinking, my copy's got a little bit of a ding in the corner. That's how perfect this album is. It's just a knockout. And the fact that there's just 5 records that I could find that are better than it is no reflection on this not being a masterpiece. It's just, this just illustrates to me that, hey, not only is there great new music being made by young musicians, there are also guys in their 50s here like Tom and Johnny, who are producing albums that are as good as they were 25 years ago. Okay, they might not conquer the world like they did with OK Computer, but if you can't conquer the world, clean up the neighbourhood, and that's what Smile certainly does. It's dark, it's brooding, it's menacing, but it's also got a little bit of a, fight the fight now so we can see the dawn tomorrow kind of feel about it. And just brilliant. I'm going to try and finish before 15 minutes. Stay very safe out there, and love and mercy to you and your friends tonight.